We're just hearing from Jaymey McIvor, Reform UK councillor on Epping Forest District Council, about the ruling today by the High Court that the government can continue to house asylum seekers at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Our first caller tonight is another elected representative in Epping. Councillor Razia Sharif joins us. Razia, great to have you on the show. I understand you are the Deputy Mayor of Epping, is that correct?
I am, Ben. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
I'd just like to put some points straight. Jaymey McIvor doesn't live in Epping. He's out of the area. So when he's saying he's speaking for the people of Epping, he's actually not speaking for the people of Epping.
Well, he's still with us, Razia, so you make your point and then I'll get Jaymey to respond.
Well, Jaymey, look, I'm not going to minimise the crime that's been committed. A crime was committed. It was a horrible crime. Hopefully the victim is getting the support and the family is getting the support that they need. They, I'm sure, would like this to be put to bed so that they can move on with their lives and heal. We as a community need the time to heal. Having these protests twice weekly, and some of them quite violent, with people that are travelling into Epping, they're not even local people in Epping. It's really not doing the community any good. It's really very, very divisive. We don't want that. The silent majority in Epping don't want that. We want to move on from here. And to say that all asylum seekers are the same, they're not. We cannot tarnish everyone with the same brush. One person has committed a crime for which he was found guilty, and let's be clear, it wasn't because of the protests he was found guilty. He was found guilty on the evidence that was presented to the judge. He was sentenced. He was then mistakenly allowed to leave the prison. He was caught. He's been deported. End of. We now move on, please. The community needs to heal.
Razia, thank you. Let's stay on the line if you would. Let's just get Jaymey to respond to that. Jaymey, you're stirring up division.
Yeah, well, first of all, Councillor Sharif is somebody I have enormous respect for. She's a very hard-working local councillor, but I do believe on this particular note she's wrong. Firstly, I'm very proud to be the councillor for Ongar, the neighbouring town, which, including the villages of Faden Mount and many other ones that border Epping. Many of my residents send their children to Epping St John's School. I'm a former student of the school. My mum's a former governor. I'm very passionate about the town of Epping. So just to be very clear, I've never claimed to represent Epping, although I'm very proud to be from Epping. In relation to the point that we're stirring up division, look, unfortunately in politics, people like to express how they feel, and many of Councillor Sharif's residents are attending peaceful protests, and they are doing so in order to express their democratic right of protest, the right to protest. The idea that I've suggested that all asylum seekers are the same is completely incorrect. In fact, as a councillor, I've been pushing to try and make sure that we integrate people that are legally entering the country through legal means. What I do disagree with Councillor Sharif on is that all of these protests are conducted and most of the people are coming from outside the area. In fact, I do not condone violence at all, but Councillor Sharif will know that actually many of the people that have actually been sent to prison are actually constituents of hers, from the violence that did take place, very regretfully. So I would encourage Councillor Sharif to actually come and speak to her own residents in Epping. The people of Epping are crying out for political leadership, and Epping councillors would be welcome to come and maybe even do what I'm doing, which is explaining what an injunction is.
Razia?
Utter nonsense. I think Councillor McIvor has said that women are afraid to walk their dogs. Utter nonsense.
But that's what they're telling me, and they'll tell you, Razia, if you came to a protest, they'll tell you themselves.
I have had hundreds of emails from residents. I don't need to be at the Bell Hotel as a woman of colour to be shouted at. I've had death threats. I've had people turning up to my house. I've had my property damaged. I've had my car.
There are people of colour at these protests protesting, Razia.
To be at the Bell Hotel to hear what's going on. I have got residents that have lived next door to the Bell Hotel, have never had any problem.
But the point that Jaymey is making is that
you're an elected representative for Epping.
Both things can be. Hold on. Both things can be true, Razia, can't they? There can be a lot of people who have no concerns, and there can be other residents who Jaymey's talking about here who have major concerns.
Of course, and I accept that completely. But what I'm saying is that causing division is not going to help anybody.
But do you think
it's not going to help the poor family, the victim, and her parents move on from this. It's not going to help the community generally.
Have you spoken to the family to know that?
Last week, Sunday, I have tried to get to have a chat with the family, and I know that there's another councillor who is trying to get...
All right, let me just jump in there if I could, Razia, because I want to get you just a clear answer here. Do you think the concerns that people do have about this hotel, and more broadly about living near asylum seekers, do you think they are legitimate, or do you think they are racism and xenophobia dressed up as something else?
I think they have become racist and xenophobic, dressed up as something else. These concerns, if the residents of the Bell Hotel were causing such a lot of concern over the years they've been there, why did we not have those concerns before? This has been one isolated incident, and it was horrible. And suddenly, we've got the protests. On Sunday, we had protests there, and they were horrific. We've had people there again today. It's not acceptable. The carnage that they leave behind on Sunday, the protests, the majority of people were from Portsmouth. They weren't even local people. We've got a lovely community group called Everyone for Epping, and they had this lovely banner that was put out there on St John's Church, and it was there in the morning. By the afternoon, it had been torn down by the protesters.
But how do you know that was torn down by the protesters?
Because the church said so.
Oh, yes. No, that must be true.
But Razia, it was your council that went to court to try to stop asylum seekers being housed at this hotel.
And you voted for it?
Yes, of course, and I didn't vote for it. However, I didn't agree with that decision. I didn't think it was the right thing to do, but the council took that decision. They went to court. They were never going to win it, but it is what it is. They did that. They haven't won.
There was complete cross-party consensus on the council, including your party, for the legal action to deal with the hotel, including many letters, joint letters. So this was an entire council decision.
Razia, final word.
I think the protests need to stop. I think reform need to stop stirring up community.
It's not reform, it's your residents that are protesting.
No, it's not.
It's the mums and nans of Epping.
It's not. It's community manipulation by the far right
it's
and
not.
reform, and it needs to stop.
Razia, appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in.
It's not true.
It's great to hear from a different elected official in Epping.